Hello, good afternoon, and happy Monday. So, I did say I was going to go on here and give you guys a brief discussion of King Charles III's stars. Um, so, I have his chart up, as you can see. And let me just go to my notes here. Now, you can see my little arrow here, so follow me here. So, Prince King Charles was born on November 14th, a dragon's head right here in Taurus. The tail is in Scorpio, right on him. He is a Scorpio. Before I go on, let me also explain that his hidden dragon, the dragon's head is in Libra, in his 12th house of his subconscious mind, and the tail is in his 6th house of health and service to the world in Aries. Let's go back to the dragon's tail. Okay, so he has a sun in Scorpio, but anytime you're dealing with a tail sitting right in the sun sign, there's two kinds of Scorpios. There is the eagle of the zodiac and the eagle of Scorpio, which is about investigations and seeking the truth, things like that. When it's in its negative, it can be about jealousy and resentfulness. It can be a person who rejects life. Since he was a prince, his life was somewhat sheltered. So if he was a commoner, he would probably have been in jail or had issues with the law of some sort. But because he is a royalty, um, the laws don't apply to him as they would you and I, if that makes any sense. Now, when you have a tail sitting in the first house in Scorpio, this creates the lizard of the zodiac. And I just explained what the positive is, which is the eagle. And when the tail sits on the first house is the soul's purpose in life. If you ever watched The Crown on, uh, was it Netflix? You can see how he was as a kid. Mother didn't pay much attention to him because she had her royal duties. His father thought he was kind of a weird kid, and in some ways, he was a weird kid. Um, but here's the thing: even because he's a royal, he didn't understand the strong intensity of his own stars. And if he'd had some metaphysical guidance when he was younger, he would be a better service to the world today. Now, I'm going back to one of the traits of a negative dragon's tail, and that's being jealous and resentful. And I think I'm going to have to come back on here, go back in time, and show you the stars of Princess Diana to make you understand this a little more. But um, he was very jealous and resentful of her, the attention she got from the media, how much she was loved by the media. She was the people's princess. Um, there are, I've debated long about saying what I'm getting ready to say. Now, I thought about just keeping it private and sharing it just with Patreon, but I will say this: because of his stars and his placement, you do have to go back in time and look at Diana's stars, and that's going to be the next video I do, possibly today, since I'm on a roll here with the royal family and doing their stars. But he had a hand in Diana's death. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. There's a lot of conspiracy theories that are bullshit, but there are some that are very true, and this happens to be one of them. And when I break down Diana's stars, you'll understand what I mean here. But he had a hand in her death, not in a direct way, but in an indirect way, him in cahoots with the monarchy. Now, the reason why I say this is Diana fell very much in love with Dodi Al-Fayed. Now, Dodi Al-Fayed was the son of, I don't remember the father's name, but he owns Harrods shopping or Harrods department store in England, in London. Um, she fell madly in love with Dodi Al-Fayed. And yeah, Dodi in the beginning was a playboy, and he was this and he was that. But there was also speculation that she might be pregnant with Dodi's child. And the monarchy could not have the former princess, who was still called no longer Her Royal Highness, but Diana, Princess of Wales. They could not have the Princess of Wales, um, to be blunt here, knocked up by a Muslim man. That just wouldn't um, correlate well in the monarchy. Now, don't get me started on the monarchy. I'm not going to say a whole lot about the monarchy, but I don't see the monarchy lasting another 50 years. So yes, Charles did have a direct hand in, indirect hand in the death of Diana, and I'll go over her stars sometime today. So moving over to his seventh house, which he has his dragon head in Taurus, he also has the moon there. Anytime you have the moon sitting on the dragon's head, this is actually a very good placement. It's far worse when the moon is sitting on the tail. A person who has that placement would be Donald Trump, because their emotions are coming from past reincarnations, past angers, past issues. Now, his King Charles's dragon's head is in his seventh house. This is the house of marriage, contracts, and partnerships. With the moon sitting there, these are his emotions. So he uh, he may be a Scorpio, but he very much sees life as a Taurus. Throw in his rising or ascending sign in his 10th house, right here in Leo. So he's got a couple of different things going on. Definitely a Scorpio, but he sees life as a Taurus. But he also needs to read the Leo horoscope as well, because anytime you have an ascending or a rising in that sign, that's the hidden face you show the world. So, I remember years ago him making a comment that he's just a spoiled little brat when he was a kid. Sorry, but I'm never really going to be myself until my mummy dies, until my mummy passes. He said that in his 30s, so I find it kind of funny. That woman lived to be 94 and spited him with that comment by not giving him the throne for 70 years plus. So, but I want to move over from his first house. And what I'm going here with the seventh house is that in marriage, they should have just let him marry Camilla. Okay, they're soulmates. They're soulmates. How they treated Diana was disgusting. Yes, totally agree. But if the monarchy would have just let them marry then, all of this would have been avoided. We wouldn't have even known who Diana was. Will and Harry would have been another person. It's the way it is. But in his marriages, he's a very good husband and very devoted to his wife, Camilla. Moving over to his 10th house here, you can see this is what I want to talk about. 10th house. Now, in the 10th house is the house of career, um, how the public eye sees you in some ways. This is public service. This is accomplishments. This is really being under a microscope, and he is now very much under the microscope of the world now that he is King Charles III. But anytime you have Pluto sitting there in the 10th house, this is about death and drama. This is about wake-up calls in some ways. And let's not forget, we have a dragon, universal dragon, in a Taurus Scorpio tail. And what does he have? A natal dragon's head in Taurus, blessed in marriage, partnerships, and contracts from now until about July 18th, 2023. The tail sits right on him. He's kind of questioning his soul's purpose in life, and he's been given the throne, whether he wants it or not. Now, I do foresee health problems. I don't see Prince Charles lasting more than 5 years or less on the throne. Now, that brings me over to his hidden dragon, which you cannot see. Um, let me go back to the 10th house. Anytime you have Pluto sitting in the 10th, Leo is royalty. This rules kings and queens, princess and princesses, duchess and dukes. Um, this is royalty. But when Pluto's in Leo, this could be the death of a king. So let's go to his hidden dragon, which is in a Libra Aries tail. Here is Libra. Hidden dragon is in the 12th house, and the tail is in the 6th. Now, anytime you have Neptune, I don't care what sign it's in the 12th house, you do have an individual who has natural psychic abilities. Now, Prince Charles may not even be aware of these abilities because of the indoctrinated monarchical life he has led. But he does. I have a Neptune in the 12th house, and these are placements where when you get your premonitions, you go with your gut feeling because you're usually right. Now, it's taken me almost 50 plus years to figure that out, but I don't know if King Charles, is doing that or knows how to do that. Now, the tail is going to be sitting here in the 6th house, the hidden. Now, the next dragon energy that moves on July 18th, 2023, and I believe it stays until it goes until January of 2025. It's going to be in an Aries head and a Libra tail. Now, I said he has a dragon's head in Libra and a hidden natal tail in Aries. Everything's going to be flipped. So the dragon will be riding in his 6th house, and the tail will be sitting in his 12th house. Now, anytime the tail's riding in your 12th house with a Neptune there, Neptune is the planet, and it's positive, it's lucid dreams, it's high psychic knowledge. When it's in its negative, it's illusions and delusions. Now, I see him having some health problems. And just because the dragon will be cruising in his 6th house and it's positive doesn't mean he's not going to be dealing with health issues. Please remember, Aries is ruled by Mars. When Mars is cruising through a 6th house, this is where flare-ups happen and things like that, arthritic flare-ups. I do believe he has some arthritis issues. And let's see here. Let me look at something. Where's his Saturn? Okay, so he has a Saturn in the 11th house in Virgo. Now, Saturn in Virgo represents intestinal issues, problems with tummy problems, which he probably does have. I know he has some arthritis issues as well. But I don't think he's going to finish. I think he'll maybe do 4 to 5 years of service, if that. But I think this next dragon is going to get him in his health and the deep subconscious mind. This is not good. It's not good. Now, this brings me to something else. A client of mine asked me if I knew anything about some book on Nostradamus, and I had said, no. I do have the book Les Prophéties by him, and she says, I'd really like for you to get this book, and it's a Nostradamus book I wrote down. She said the person that wrote it, Nostradamus had predicted the Queen's death, which the Queen did after looking at the Queen's stars. The Queen was born in April, I believe, the 21st, like 1926, And her natal dragon's head was in Cancer, and the tail was in Capricorn. And the day she died, she passed on a negative biorhythm day. So and that is the importance of knowing your dragon's head and tail. Sometimes we leave this earth when that energy is moving through negatively into our chart. Now, I can't really cry about this because she lived a very, very long life. Um, and I'm not going to say too much about her uh, out of respect. I could say plenty, but I'm not. Those who know me well know how I feel. Anyway, that is a little rundown of Prince Charles. I don't think he's going to be a good service to the people. Um, I think he might have some major health issues come along. Now, in this book about Nostradamus, apparently he is dethroned by the people, and that could happen too. Um, there's a lot of people in England, and I haven't looked at the polls yet, that still hold him responsible for Diana's death and the way he treated her. Um, just certain things. And what a contradiction of bullshit. If you ever watch The Crown, you'll understand what I mean. Um, she was kept tabs on to make sure she was not cheating and being dishonest, but yet he had his mistress Camilla who he'd go and see. So it was okay for him as future king, but not for her. And the way the monarchy treated her, she was basically a brood mare. Um, I'm going to talk more about her on my Patreon page. I am running a special for $5. You can get in on the mother tier. It's $20 off, and I believe it's running through the 14th or the 15th. And I'm going to explain more about Diana and some of the things I know about her stars and her reincarnation, um, and a little more in-depth detail about her death. I'm not going to do it here on a public platform, and I've given you plenty of information on King Charles. So um, I do think, he's in the limelight right now. He's in the spotlight. I don't even think he hasn't even been coronated yet. I think that happens after they bury the queen. I could be wrong. I'm American, not English, so I do not know the traditions there. But this is just a brief analysis of his stars. Um, if there's any questions you have about him, or his stars, please don't hesitate to ask me. Like I said, it's just a very brief analysis. The only other thing I want to add into this is, if you give me a second, I hope you like the new format. I paid a little extra for StreamYard so that I can now go on and put the chart up and explain it to you instead of holding it up. I just think it's so much easier and a lot more professional, don't you think? Let me bring up Charles's stars for a minute here. I knew there was one more thing I wanted to mention about him. Okay, so nobody ever sees this. This is for the astrologer's view only, but the ruler of his chart, and we all have a ruler in the chart. Some people are ruled, the entire complexity of their chart is ruled by Mercury or Venus, or in this case, Charles's entire complexity, the whole chart is ruled by the sun. The sun is the spotlight. He has wanted to be the king for a long time, and I don't think he really believed his mummy would live this long. Moving on down here, I want to explain some things to you. Now, King Charles has a lot of planets in critical degrees. He has the sun in critical degrees. He has Jupiter. Here's his sun, critical degree. When I say critical degrees, what I mean by that is there's going to be more conflicts, trials, and tribulations when they're in critical degrees. So he's a Scorpio. So like I said, he's had his own conflicts with himself, his soul's purpose in life. Moving on, he has Jupiter in critical degrees. And this is sitting on the second house. He's destined to be a wealthy person. Anytime you have Jupiter in the second, this creates a natural born millionaire. Probably born. This is an individual that was wealthy at birth, and that explains Jupiter, and it's in Sagittarius. So it's dignified. The planet is in its governing sign, and its governing sign. Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So he was destined to be rich from birth, but it's in critical degrees. So there's going to be issues there with his money, how he makes money, um, like I said, how the public views him. Moving on, he's got Saturn in critical degrees, and this could be where some of his health issues are going to come from. Um, it's in Virgo. Anytime Saturn's in Virgo, this is intestines, intestinal problems, the nervous system in some way. It's in critical degrees, so there's why maybe you see that swelling in his hands and his feet. There's some issues there with, he does not look healthy. Um, God, the guy who taught me this astrology is about his age, 72. What is Charles, 73? The guy that taught me this looks damn good for his age, okay? Even though he's had some health issues. This guy does not look healthy at all. So yeah, he's either going to be dethroned by the people, or he's going to be dethroned due to health reasons, major health problems, and he could possibly die between 2023 or very early 2025. Moving on, another critical degree is Uranus. This is in the ninth house, and the ninth house is the house of higher learning, laws, foreigners, foreign lands. So he does like traveling and going here and there, but it's in a critical degree. So he didn't do well when he used to travel into other countries quite as well as his late wife did. He's just a personality that the crowd warms up to, like Diana did, and he never will. Even his son, his mom, in a lot of ways, and even he has a different countenance about him when he's meeting the public. I'm going to go through entire royal family and Kate's and the three children eventually in time. But for now, we're going to do Charles. I'm going to take you back in time and show you Diana's. Then I'm going to do Camilla, the queen consort. Then I'm going to combine Charles and Camilla's stars together and show you what I mean by soulmate placement. And the other critical degree here, there's two more. And the other one here is, let's see, the midheaven. Now the midheaven, and I do have an exact birth time on him. So whereas the midheaven is your aim in life, and it's in the video is disappearing on me. There we go. And the next one that is in critical degrees is the Wheel of Fortune. This is right here, sitting in his third house. The third house is communication, it's transportation. So he is fortunate. He probably has some lovely cars. He's inherited many cars. This is your mental process, which is pretty accurate and acute. I don't focus too much on the Wheel of Fortune. It's a minor placement, but a lot of people like to see it. That is the stars of Prince or King Charles III. Like I said, come next year, when this dragon shifts in July of 2023, July 18th to be exact, and it stays for 18 months, those are going to be some rough months for him ahead, health-wise, especially, and on his psyche. He's going to, I don't think he's going to be able to handle the pressures of being a king. Um, I don't know how to say this, but his mother had balls. This man does not have balls. Okay. He's a coward. He's a spoiled brat. He's lived a privileged life. Now, I'm not saying that Queen Elizabeth hasn't lived a privileged life, but she's an Aries, so she's a natural born warrior. Women who are Aries women are warrior women. Scorpio men can be whiny little bitches, pardon my French. And I don't mean any disrespect to any of my Scorpio males out there. I know who you are, and a lot of you are my friends, but when you have a tail sitting there in Scorpio, you are a very jealous, resentful individual who can't stand to see others shine unless you're in the limelight. And that is a whole combination between that with the Pluto placement and his hidden dragon. This is just simply how I read the stars. It's not that I'm wishing him to have bad health or death, but I do see this coming for him. So that is the stars and fate of Prince Charles. Stay tuned, and I will do Princess Diana in a little bit. Have a good Monday. Bye-bye.